How is it going, Bears fans? Welcome back to another episode of the Bear Down podcast, where we talk everything Bears every day of the week. Today, we are back giving you guys our three key positional matchups in the Week 7 matchup between the Chicago Bears and the Los Angeles Rams, both teams vying to push forward towards a playoff spot in the NFC. Should be a very good game on Monday Night Football on what I believe is October 26th. Let's hop right into it. Before we get into this one, I would like to say we are so close to hitting subscriber milestones on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. So if you would like Bears content basically every day of the week, we're pumping out 5 podcasts a week. Do us a favor and subscribe. We are 8 subscribers away from 3,000 subscribers on YouTube, also 8 away from 200 listeners on Spotify, and I believe only about 13 away from 200 subscribers on Apple Podcasts. So do us a favor, subscribe/follow if you want more Bears content. I am your host, Chris Malpe, and today to break down these important positional matchups in the Week 7 game, I am joined with both of my co-hosts, Parth Shaw and Jaylen McClinton. How's it going, guys?
Going pretty good. I just took a test in one of my classes and ready to record a Bears video for you guys. Got an exciting matchup versus the Rams this week, so let's talk some Bears football.
Yes, same here. It's Thursday, my last day of school. Been out for a couple hours just playing Madden. Parth and Chris know what I'm talking about. But we got some football tonight. It's a terrible game, but I'm probably still going to watch it just because it's football. But saw some Bears football and get ready for Monday.
Let's hop right into it. Before we get into it, Parth, how'd your test go, buddy?
Went pretty good, actually. I felt pretty good about it, so that's good.
What class?
Weather and climate. So.
Oh, I took weather and climate change last year. I know what it's like to get some gen eds out of the way in college, but Parth, you have the first matchup in this game. You have the offensive matchup in this one. The Bears have been scoring 21.3 points per game. The Rams have allowed about 19 per game, so hop right into it.
Yep. So we're going to talk about the Bears, basically wide receiver / tight end core versus this Rams secondary. If we look at the last 2 years, we've played the Rams basically 2018, 2019, and also this year in 2020. In 2018, the Bears really did not pass the ball that well. We only had 110 passing yards that game, and Allen Robinson was our leading receiver with 42 yards and 5 catches. And then last year in 2019, we only put up 7 points, and our leading receiver was actually Taylor Gabriel with 57 yards. Followed up by Anthony Miller with 54 yards. So we all know that Allen Robinson will be going up against Jalen Ramsey in this one. Last year when Ramsey and Robinson went up against each other, Robinson ended up the game with 4 receptions for 15 yards. A poor game, I guess you could say, out of Allen Robinson, against a physical cornerback in Jalen Ramsey. So guys like Anthony Miller, Darnell Mooney, Jimmy Graham, even Javon Wims, in my opinion, have to step it up against this Rams secondary. We all know that Ramsey is very impactful in the game. He's really good. He's a top 10, top 5, top 3 corner. A lot of people will debate that, but I'm going to say top 5. I think he's a top 5 cornerback. So I think Allen Robinson's going to be shadowed for most of the game. So guys like Anthony Miller and Darnell Mooney have to produce for us. Anthony Miller's been pretty up and down this year. I think he was pretty good for the first couple games of the season, and then we haven't seen much out of him. He's been degraded to wide receiver 3, but that does not mean we don't see a big game out of Miller anytime soon. I think this man needs to step it up. His career is going downhill. I think this could be one of his bigger games. The Bears are going to need to move the ball somehow against this Rams defense, which is currently ranked 4th in the passing department. So they're a really good passing defense, and I think Anthony Miller has the best chance to get open and for Nick Foles. Same with Darnell Mooney. He's been impressive for a 5th round rookie. He's already our wide receiver 2. I think he can have a big game if somehow he can get open. He's a really good route runner. He's got the speed. He's got the talent to do it. We saw him against the Colts, put up 52 yards so far, his highest total this year. I think we could look out for a big Mooney game. And then Jimmy Graham, he's been super productive in the red zone, already has 4 touchdowns for the Bears. I think we could probably see Jimmy Graham get open in the end zone or the red zone. I think he's going to get a lot of the targets this game as well.
Yeah, Jimmy Graham's going to have to step up in this one because tight ends have had a ton of success against the Rams recently. Parth, you're right. Jimmy Graham is tied for second in the NFL with touchdowns by a tight end with 4. And we saw George Kittle have a pretty good game against the Rams last week in week 6. And that's something that's promising, at least for Bears fans. I mean, George Kittle isn't Jimmy Graham, and Jimmy Graham isn't what he essentially used to be. But Kittle had 7 receptions for 109 yards and a touchdown last week. It's going to be very important that he steps up. And then hopefully Robinson is going to be able to have a better affair with Ramsey this year. Robinson has 40 receptions for 474 yards and 2 touchdowns this year. That's over 10 yards per catch. He's had a good season, so it's going to be very important that those role players step up behind him in case Ramsey does have a good game. He's had 13 tackles on the year, a couple of passes defended. He's one of the best corners in the league, so you definitely can't doubt him. It's going to be very important that Darnell Mooney, guys like him, have a big game here in week 7. Next, hopping into the defensive factor of the game, I've got it, so let's hop right into it. The Los Angeles Rams are definitely a legitimate contender in the NFC, but maybe slightly overrated. You know, taking a look at their wins, all 4 of them have come against teams in the NFC East, a division that has combined for a record of 5-18-1 throughout 6 weeks. I've been someone to speak up against Jared Goff in the past, and it's going to be crucial that the Bears get to him on Sunday, as they have done in past years, if they want to give themselves a chance to win. So my defensive factor is going to be the Bears getting to Jared Goff, forcing him into some bad throws. The Rams' offense is full of weapons across the field on offense. From Darrell Henderson to Tyler Higbee to the pair of recently extended wide receivers, one of the best duos in the league in Cooper Kupp and Robert Woods. Goff is going to have a ton of options to attack the Bears through the air. On the other hand, Goff hasn't performed well against the Bears' defense in years past, despite a 17-7 win in 2019 at the Coliseum. Let's take a look at Goff's numbers in his 2 career games against the Bears. He's had a 50% completion percentage, 353 total passing yards in both of those games combined, 0 passing touchdowns, 5 interceptions, 1 fumble, and a passer rating of 44.5. Also was sacked for a safety in 2018 by Eddie Goldman. Luckily, the 2020 Bears' defense has been performing similarly to the 2018 defense minus the takeaways, which is quite promising looking at how the Bears dismantled the Rams 2 seasons ago. The Bears are currently leading the league in touchdowns allowed, defending the pass as a unit, and in red zone defense. They are second in the league in making stops on 3rd down, and I think the Rams are going to have a tough time moving the ball against Chicago's stout defense. Guys like Robert Quinn, Akeem Hicks, and Khalil Mack are going to have to step up big time in this one if the Bears want to give themselves a chance to move to 6-1 before heading to New Orleans. Robert Quinn led the league the past 2 weeks in forcing pressure on the quarterback, and Hicks and Mack are both top 10 in the league in not only sacks, but also pressures at their position. You got to force Goff into making some bad throws, and hopefully this Bears' secondary will prosper. We've seen Eddie Jackson play some great football recently. He's had 2 pick sixes taken away from him. That's a discussion for another day. But he also is leading all safeties in the NFL with the most coverage snaps without allowing a score. Kyle Fuller, on the other hand, has played like an all-pro, possibly Defensive Player of the Year candidate if he can get some more turnovers, with 21 tackles, 5 passes defended, and a forced fumble and an interception this year. Say what you want about Jaylen Johnson. He did get picked on in week 6, but he is still playing very well. And I think he's been playing above the learning curve and is still ready for the spotlight. He's allowing the 2nd lowest completion percentage in the league to opposing quarterbacks, behind only Kyle Fuller. That percentage is 44.7, and he is also 3rd in the league in passes defended with 9. If you want my point summed up in 1 or 2 sentences, you have to plug the run if possible, get to Jared Goff like you did in 2019 and 2018, and force him to toss up some bad balls like he's been known to do. He hasn't always been the most consistent guy in the league. So this defense needs to stonewall the Rams for a 3rd year in a row if the Bears want a chance to move to 6-0 in the NFC. It's going to be very important. We know how good Green Bay is. They had a down week last week, but getting a wild card spot is going to be important. We would assume the Rams are going to be in the race for getting a wild card spot, so the Bears are going to have to get to Jared Goff, get some pressure in his face. We saw Teddy Bridgewater struggle last week when the Bears were able to do that, as well as Tom Brady 2 weeks ago. So the Bears are going to have to get some pressure on Jared Goff and hopefully force him to throw up some bad balls to a secondary that has been performing very well in the 2020 season if they want a chance to win this one. Basically, keep them from scoring points. Continue to do what you're doing on defense if you want a chance in this one. So I'm going to pass it to Jaylen now. Jaylen has the overarching matchup in this game. I think it's a pretty obvious one, but missing James Daniels is going to hurt in this game. Jaylen, what is your overarching matchup in this Week 7 game?
So like you said, my overarching matchup is going to be Aaron Donald, basically, against our offensive line. Aaron Donald is one of the best defensive players in the league right now. He's probably going to go down as one of the best defensive players of all time. On the season, he has 7.5 or 7 sacks, if I'm not wrong, which is, I'm pretty sure, top 5 in the entire league. Last week, the 49ers offensive line did a good job holding him to only 1 QB hit and no sacks. So if we can find a way to contain Aaron Donald, we should be able to win this game. This offensive line didn't give up a sack last week against the Carolina Panthers' young front seven. But if you watch the game, Nick Foles was pressured a lot. Just on one of the plays where he threw up the ball in the red zone. Right after we got our turnover from an Eddie Jackson fumble, it was like 4 Panthers right in his face, and the ball had just got snapped. So we don't want that against the Rams because they have a lot of playmakers in their secondary. They have Jaylen Ramsey, who's an all-pro, John Johnson, who's very underrated, Darius Williams, who's broke out this season as a number 2 opposite of Jaylen Ramsey, of course. So we need to block for him. James Daniels is obviously hurt. He's on IR. He, in the 2 seasons that he's been in the league, or 3 seasons, but in the 2 times that he played Aaron Donald, he's done a pretty good job, especially in 2018. In his rookie season, he held Aaron Donald to no sacks. Last year, I think Aaron Donald had 2, but that was on Cody Whitehair and Charles Leno. So I'm very scared of Aaron Donald, especially against Rashad Coward. He got blew up a lot of the game, a lot in the Panthers game. Like I said, we didn't give up a sack, and that's just because Nick Foles was getting the ball out quick because he knows our offensive line is not the best. He still got pressured a lot, but against Aaron Donald, he's very quick, he's very strong. He's 6'1", so a lot of people say what's the word, like shorter man wins, or who's ever closest to the ground wins. So he's very good at doing that. He's a great pass rusher. So if we can contain him, that's basically going to make or break this game. If Nick Foles is pressured a lot, he's probably going to throw up some bad balls to their playmakers in the secondary, and we don't want that to happen at all.
Yeah, this Rams' defense is full of a ton of playmakers. I mean, Michael Brockers, Jaylen, you mentioned, Darius Williams having a great start to the year, Troy Hill at the slot cornerback, Taylor Rapp, John Johnson, someone you mentioned, Leonard Floyd, a familiar face to the Bears. I think the blueprint for this one is going to have to be that you're going to have to double team Aaron Donald. And it's going to give other people opportunities, but Nick Foles is going to have to get the ball out quickly regardless. You know what? It's like a facelift or a 360 moment for us now, because we all remember when Leonard Floyd was getting one-on-one opportunities in the pass rushing game and not taking advantage of them. And it seems like he might have those opportunities against the Bears, against guys like Charles Leno and Bobby Massey. And we'll see if he's able to take advantage of them. I would hope that he's not able to, because I don't want a Leonard Floyd revenge game by any means, but double teaming Aaron Donald is going to be basically the Bears' blueprint in this one. A little bit shorter of a podcast for you guys today, but we are going to keep pumping out the content for you guys. So thank you all for tuning in to our Week 7 installment of 3 key matchups. Our Fan Mail Friday will be turning into Fan Mail Saturday this week. It'll be coming out on Saturday with our pregame show coming out on Sunday night around when the Sunday night football game is. So be sure to look out for those. Subscribe. Be sure to follow if you want Bears content every day of the week. And be sure to check us out on YouTube. It's our most popular platform. We post a ton of extra content on there as well. So be sure to check it out. Subscribe. We are so close to milestones on all 3 platforms. If you want more content from us, you can head over to our website, beardown.com. We're posting content throughout this week to get you guys ready for the Week 7 matchup between the Bears and the Rams. A ton of hardworking individuals behind the scenes for us. So if you have some time, be sure to go check out our website. We're posting a ton of great content on there as well. We are currently giving away an Anthony Miller signed mini helmet on our social media. So if you would like to find us on Instagram and Twitter, and have a free opportunity to enter that giveaway and possibly win some cool merchandise, some cool signed memorabilia. You can find us on both of those platforms at Bear Down. Our social media is also a great way to interact with us, give us some possible suggestions from what you want to see on the podcast. And finally, you can find the links to all of our social media down in the description. That includes our Twitter as well as our Instagram fan pages. Parth Shaw, Jaylen McClinton, Monday Night Football coming up soon. We're approaching the end of the week. Any last words?
Let's hope Leonard Floyd doesn't get his revenge game. You guys were talking about Leonard Floyd, and I was like, man, if that guy gets a couple sacks against us, I would be pretty mad about that. I have nothing but respect for him, but let's hope his coming out game or revenge game doesn't happen against us, especially this week. I really want the Bears to get to 6-1.
100%. I mean, I remember being flustered with him during his time in Chicago. I think the worst thing that could possibly happen in this one is he has a breakout game against us. So that's something that I would definitely love the Bears to keep off the table. But at the same time, I said it earlier, you're going to have to double Aaron Donald, and it's going to give guys like him opportunities. So hopefully the Bears can contain Leonard Floyd as well as Aaron Donald and the strong pass rush for the Rams in this one, because there's talent all across their defense as well as all across their offense. Jaylen, any last words?
I don't know how far we are from 3K. I think we're at 299. I don't know the exact number of subscribers, but thank you guys for all the support. We're about to hit 3K. That is crazy because we started at 300 something at the beginning of 2020. 2020 has been a bad year for this this entire earth, but for us it's been pretty decent. So I want to thank you guys for that. Bear down, like both of you guys said. I really hope Leonard Floyd doesn't go off against us, especially in prime time, because then people are gonna say, "Oh, Pace, look what you did." But so other than that, bear down, and
I love to see the growth across the platforms. I mean, we've started on Spotify and Apple Podcasts this year. Obviously, that takes a little bit more of a slow start to get going from zero, but the growth for us this year has been absolutely incredible. When we started this, we were a podcast that posted inconsistently and probably had under 100 listeners per each episode only on YouTube. Now we're on 3 platforms and we almost have 3,500 concurrent listeners. So we appreciate the support from you guys. We are at 2,995 on YouTube, so 5 away from 3,000 there, 183 on Apple Podcasts, 17 away from 200, and only 8 away on Spotify with 192. So be sure to subscribe if you want more Bears content. It's been a pleasure to be your host once again. My name is Chris Malpe. Bears fans, as always, do us a favor and stay safe and bear down. Let's keep up the winning record. We'll see you in the next one. Fan Mail Saturday. It felt weird to say that, but that's the next podcast we got coming out on Saturday. So be sure to look out for that one, and we'll see you there. Peace.